watching Charter California Edition. My name is Brad Pomerantz. I am so enjoying our road show throughout the state of California. Today we are in Victorville, California in the high desert. We are joined by the Mayor Pro Tem of the beautiful city of Apple Valley, California. Her name is Barb Stanton. And as I said, we're in the high desert. It's hot, it's dry, it's beautiful, lots of land, but the drought has impacted so many communities. And I'm wondering, how is it impacting Apple Valley? How is it impacting the high desert?
Well, the drought's impacting the entire state.
Right.
No one can turn their head and say, well, this doesn't apply to us. But in the high desert, we are under an adjudication of the Mojave Water Agency. Mm-hmm. And thank goodness for that, because we've been banking water for years, and we actually have a 2 to 3 year water reliability right now for this entire region.
That's, I mean, how lucky are you? There are some
Yes.
communities that are saying, we have a year's worth and then we're in trouble. So the fact that you have that much is a blessing.
Yes, and others that are already out of water,
Right.
that are in trouble. So it's not that we don't have to conserve and do all the measures that are prudent, but we do have that reliability.
So what are you doing as a community to conserve? As you know, the governor recently passed mandatory restrictions, and certain communities have higher targets than other communities. What's happening in Apple Valley?
Brad, in Apple Valley, we've actually been mandated to cut back 36%.
So
which
you're
is
one
shocking.
of the higher end.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the highest.
That's right. And we're wondering how that happened, because we've taken so many conservation measures already, such as cutting back on all of our parks, our golf course, the schools are
Right.
working with us. So we're wondering, many of our neighbors have gone to desert flora fauna or rock landscaping.
Sure. Which can be quite beautiful, by the way.
I actually took out my entire front yard, very
Really?
apprehensive last year. And all the little shrubs, I have bubblers on them, and it is quite beautiful
Right.
with the rock and some
Right.
big boulders. But the point being is, how can you cut back 36% when you're already cutting back?
So how?
Well, we don't know. We don't know. And here's a conundrum. Oh, I have to tell you this.
Please.
We actually broke ground. We cut ribbon just last week on a water reclamation facility where we can take our secondary, our dirty water, or some call it gray water,
Yes.
and reuse it. And we'll use that on our parks, our golf courses, etc. And that will help with conservation,
No
using
doubt.
every bit of water.
The other challenge that you are facing as a city is your purveyor of water. The main purveyor is a private entity. Talk to us about how that happens, how Apple Valley Ranchos, is that what it's called?
Yes.
What's, to the extent you know, the kind of the history of that and where we go?
Well, Apple Valley Ranchos water has been in our town for many, many
Okay.
years. Although it's changed hands, it retains the same name.
Got it.
The problem we're having in Apple Valley is driven by money. Our citizens are demanding that something be done. We're paying substantially higher rates than all of our neighbors. Yards are going brown. Family people have no grass for their children to play on. So we're being prompted to do something about changing the structure of this water company, and that goes into the purchase of the water company.
And let's talk about that, because it is a scary proposition to think that a municipality feels the need to take that step. But again, it's not an easy step to take. You can't just like, oh, let's buy a water company. I mean, Apple Valley, it's a town actually.
Yes.
You know, and so it's charming, but I can't imagine its budget is flush with cash just to pick up and buy a water company.
You're right.
Right. So talk to us about where we are in this conversation. Because I understand the company is for sale, by the way.
It's for sale, but for some reason, and it's perplexing to the town,
Right.
they do not want to sell to us. They're in negotiations now to finalize a sale with Algonquin is the name of the company. They're from Canada. So our water destiny is in the hands of for-profit driven businesses. That's okay. That's where it gets dicey, as you said,
Right.
Brad. But it's our destiny in our town. We have to, it's like the air we breathe.
Right.
It's the water we need to sustain life.
And are your residents talking about it? Is it on top of mind, this question of the ownership of your purveyor? Normally you wouldn't think it would be, but it sounds like from what I've heard and learned that people are discussing it.
They are. We've had hundreds of people show up at community meetings and asking all of the questions. In fact, just recently we held a community meeting to explain every step, where we're at, how we're determining value, what's next, and giving our citizens a chance to tell us yes or no we want you to move forward. And it was almost an even balance of no, don't do it, yes, do it. And now we're at the step that it'll be up to the council to determine if we should go the final step.
You don't need to go to your voters, I understand, to acquire the company. It doesn't go to a ballot.
That's
it's the
correct.
council. 5 of you.
It's a tough one.
Yeah.
But here's the beauty of all of this. If you don't like the way things are being done, unlike a private company who they don't have to divulge their books or anything, and that's okay. But your vote is very powerful. You can vote a council out. The town is accountable. We can't raise rates without a vote of the people.
Right.
So there's a beauty to
Whereas
all of this.
with a private company, I guess under Prop 218, it
That's
goes
correct.
to the CPUC, California Public Utilities Commission.
That's
And
correct.
we know they've had their problems with San Bruno and other matters.
It's been a mess. And,
Right.
and that board is appointed. They have no accountability.
Right.
We certainly are accountable as people who live in the town and know all our neighbors.
As you know, a entity can't necessarily force another entity to sell to it.
Well, you can.
But
And this is where it's dicey.
Right.
I've always been a person that felt the word eminent domain. I'm stuttering here.
right,
It's hard
exactly.
to say.
It's a tough word, especially in the high desert.
Of course it is.
Right.
But again, I'm going to use the term our destiny. If we don't do something now, we have several surcharges that are retroactive. Our rates are substantially higher, I said this earlier, than all of our neighbors. And that's where our neighbors say, well, I'm driving to Hesperia or Victorville. Everybody's still got lawns. And aside from the drought, why can't we afford water?
And so there is a provision in the law, though, for the city of Hesperia, of Apple Valley, the town of Apple Valley, I
That's
should
all
say.
right.
The town of Apple
I didn't
Valley.
want to correct the
right,
host.
Right, it's fair enough. You were a newscaster yourself. I can tell you got the voice. The town of Apple Valley to acquire via eminent domain. That's a complicated process, though.
Yes,
it's
it
not
is.
easy. It can get caught up in court. And so what's that process look like?
Well, it can be very costly. We do have a timeline. We are I told you, the community
Right.
meeting. The next step, council directed staff to come forward with all of the financials, everything laid out on the table so we can make the determination, yes, we're moving forward. If Apple Valley Ranchos Water will not sell to us, or their parent company, which is actually owned by Carlisle Company, which is
my.
a multinational,
Yes,
right?
no, we've heard.
And God bless them, they're very smart
Right,
people,
right.
but it's all about profit. We have to do something for our
It is.
community.
I mean, I can tell the kind of internal tumult you're feeling because look, businesses have a right to make a profit, like you said,
Yes,
but it's the town's destiny. Water, no water, no life.
that's so true, Brad. So the next step would be, if we can't negotiate a sale,
Right.
then it would be a process of eminent domain, and that can be lengthy.
Do you know how it works? I used to be a lawyer. It's a dangerous thing, but what would that look like? Do you file a lawsuit? Do you know? I don't know if you know.
Well, I'm not really
Yeah,
sure
that's
because
okay.
it hasn't been divulged,
Right.
but I know that there will be court proceedings. And it will be lengthy. There'll be a lot of depositions taken, a lot of testimony, and then a judge will decide.
So as we look at this and as we conclude, what's the mood? Do you feel as if, I know you can't predict the future, but do you think this is the process you're going to have to take?
Yes,
You do.
Apple Valley Ranchos personnel or management has made it very clear, we will never sell to you. You have to go.
Why?
I don't know, and it's very troubling.
If it's fair market value.
Right. It's very troubling. I don't know why.
And do we know financing? Do we know how?
Yes, we do. That was disclosed, and it looks like we may even be able, just on the rate base that they're bringing in now, because rates won't go down,
Right.
but they won't keep escalating,
Sure.
that we can pay the bonds off with just the money that's coming in today. We can pay those bonds.
You had a nice life, everything was going well. Then you got yourself elected to the Apple Valley
I
Town
came here.
Council, and you have to deal with such a lofty issue. But it's exciting and it's important, and it's the future of your community. I wish you the best of luck.
Thank
I
you.
know it's exciting
Thank you.
times. Her name is Barb Stanton. She is the Mayor Pro Tem of the town of Apple Valley in beautiful Inland Empire, California. I'm Brad Pomerantz. It's California Edition.